Attention, international commentary will resume in 10 seconds from now. Well, let's see what the second half has in store in Santiago. Chile frustrated really to an extent in the first 45 minutes. They created the majority of the chances. Most of those came early. And Jorge Sampaoli has seen enough to prompt him into a half-time change. Eduardo Vargas, who did begin the friendly against El Salvador on Friday, is on at the start of the second half here for Jean Beausejour. It's an attacking move from coach Sampaoli. An indication that he's not happy with what he's seen so far. Ecuador, by contrast, will be the way that they've contained the threat of the host nation thus far. They'll get the second half started. So far so good for Ecuador then in their frustration of the hosts. Same again, I'm sure, is the message from Gustavo Quinteros as far as La Tricolor are concerned. But there is the Chilean change. And Vargas, who's made a rapid recovery from the knee injury, suffered after scoring actually for Queen's Park Rangers at West Bromwich Albion back here in April. Recovered his fitness in time to play in these finals. He is on for Jean Beausejour for this second half. Didn't really get Beausejour in the game, did they, in the first period, Chile? Sampaoli has responded to that, looking for his team to respond themselves now with a little more urgency, maybe. Their greatest threat, really, in that first half came through Mauricio Isla here down the right-hand side. Got him in behind on a number of occasions. Just put a little too much on that for Vidal, though. Clearances by Fricks and Arazo. And a more comfortable night thus far for Ecuador than they might have anticipated. And plenty to do, but they've done it with a degree of calmness and composure at the back. Chile trying to stretch them again here. Mena to Sanchez. Knocked away from him in the nick of time by Juan Carlos Paredes, and now Montero for Ecuador. He's got Valencia ahead of him. Now just stepping across to snuff out the threat. And the Valencia player was actually given his chance at Emelec at club level in Ecuador by the current Chile coach, Jorge Sampaoli. He's somebody that the opposition boss knows all about. They've dealt with his threat well up to this juncture. The referee's going to be forced to intervene here for the challenge on Valdivia. And Osvaldo Lastra there has to be careful. He was one of those booked in the first half. It could have been another yellow. Treading a fine line, certainly from here on in. Point I think that has just been made to him on his competitive debut for Ecuador after 4 previous friendlies. Concession of the kick, which again Aranguiz will take. Beat the first man with it. Quality on the set piece is not quite been up to scratch yet from Chile. Here's Vargas looking to get involved for the first time. Support from Diaz. Different problem now for Quinteros with the introduction of Vargas by Sampaoli. The first to make his move. An advanced role for Beausejour, with Vargas making way from the El Salvador game. Didn't really come off for Chile. Forward from Christian Noboa, who was another that didn't really have the influence Ecuador would have hoped that he could have exerted in the first half. I'll try and get him on the ball a little more. He's certainly got the composure required in midfield to dictate proceedings more than has perhaps been the case. A shortage of rivals in there in that midfield to prevent him from doing that, though. Aranguiz a case in point as Valencia tries to hold this up. Just overran it in the end, but already there looks to be a little more energy surrounding Enner Valencia. He suffered a frustrating end to his debut season in England at West Ham. Just a month of the season in March with a foot injury, sustained at home actually when he trod on a mug that he'd smashed in his kitchen. Proved to be much more serious than initially feared. A campaign that promised much, ultimately only delivered 4 Premier League goals for West Ham. Form actually seemed to tail off after January when he had been linked with a switch to Chelsea. Such had been his immediate impact. Valdivia. This is Mena stepping in. Marcelo Diaz enjoyed a memorable end to his club season at Hamburg. First in the Bundesliga after his move from Basel in January. Actually scored the 91st minute equaliser in their 2-1 extra time playoff victory against Karlsruhe last Monday that ensured they would remain in the Bundesliga. That went right to the wire. So Diaz, one of those that missed the training camp in Rancagua as a result of his club commitments. So Ecuador look here for Valencia. Diaz was deepest than needed to be. They play their way out from the back brilliantly. Here's Mena. Vidal, a little deeper so far in this second half. Eduardo Vargas. He's going back to Napoli after Queen's Park Rangers relegation. This is Alexis Sanchez. It's a testing ball in as well, comes back to him. Sanchez might get another go. He's still going. Just couldn't find the finish. And then looks rather hopefully in the direction of the referee in the end. Completely outnumbered in the penalty area there. And still they couldn't get the ball off Alexis Sanchez. Frustration for Aranguiz as Paredes gets the decision. And just trying to slow the game down, take the sting out of it. I always knew the host would be up for this. Got the close control from Alexis Sanchez. There's just no way through for him, though. Hasn't scored for Chile since November. Something of a drought by his standards. A home defeat against Uruguay. The only home defeat in the last 18 matches they've played in front of their own supporters. Here's Montero. Ecuador have worked this well. Enner Valencia wasn't far away. Continuing to take up those promising positions in the penalty area. Looking at much more of a threat since the restart. Shouldn't really have been allowed to reach him, Montero's ball. And the number of those in red and blue in the way. Boa getting the decision this time. He plays his club football in Greece with PAOK after a move from Russia. He'd been based previously with Rubin Kazan, won a couple of Russian Premier League titles there, and then with Dynamo Moskva more recently. Those that ply their trade abroad, as I mentioned, are in the minority in the Ecuadorian squad, though, in complete contrast to Chile. We have it here with Valdivia. Sanchez. Martinez back defending. Now he's got a bit of room to run into, though. Fidel Martinez. See what he was trying. He's well cut out by Arazo. He's just one cap short of his half-century now. He's found Jefferson Montero here to take on Medal. Yao's clearance completely unconvincing. Valdivia, though. There's Bolanos trying to get back to him. Upping the intensity here. Fidel thought he'd been upended, but again, the referee, Pitani, had a different opinion. Paredes. Lively first 10 minutes of this second half, though. Valdivia finding Sanchez. Again, the shot wasn't on for Sanchez, may yet be for Mena. Squares it for Valdivia. Here's Vidal. He will have a go. Chile beginning to knock on the door rather more frequently now. Arturo Vidal going in search of the goal that would take him into double figures for his country. Created a sight of goal with the fast feet. Couldn't find that finish. The last goal for his country came from the penalty spot in stoppage time here in October in a 2-2 draw against Bolivia. Boa forward again for Martinez to chase. Put the pressure on Yara. He got just enough on that to guide it back to Claudio Bravo. And for a moment, Montero thought he was going to be away there. So Maurizio Isla getting the decision. Challenged by Bolanos, who's struggled really to get involved. Getting just his fifth cap tonight. He's another of the Emelec contingent. So he's moved from Chivas USA. There's Sanchez. Goal kick given. Chile takes the plaudits of his teammates. He and Arazo have been unruffled really at the heart of this defence so far, despite the ever-present threat of Sanchez. Clearance cannoned off the shin of the Chile mat. We're going to see something similar from the first half. Chile beginning very brightly at a high tempo, but one that they weren't really able to sustain in the first 45 minutes. Ecuador will be hoping the pattern is going to be re-established here, having again soaked up some not inconsiderable pressure at the start of this half. Charles Aranguis. So back from Isla. Vargas challenging for that. Montero. Aranguis going with him. It took two to stop him. He did stop him fairly in the eyes of the official. It does take some stopping when in full flight, Jefferson Montero. Get it back again here from Martinez. Valdivia. As Mena in support and in some space, instead looked for Sanchez through the middle. That final ball just hasn't quite come off yet for Chile. Bolanos again. Noboa touching it into the path of Martinez. That wasn't quite as intended. He gave Claudio Bravo something to do. Vidal looking to get Chile on the front foot again. Sanchez the target. Playing more centrally now since the introduction of Vargas at the break. It's same old story, and still we haven't really seen Dominguez in goal overly extended at any stage. Did go to the Copa America 4 years ago as backup to Marcelo Elizaga. It was only in the last World Cup qualifiers that he became his nation's #1. So now we're gone in Santiago. There's been a recent history of surprising results on opening night in the Copa America. 4 years ago in Buenos Aires, Argentina held by Bolivia. And they actually needed a relatively late Sergio Aguero equaliser to take even a point from that first fixture. Chile hoping to avoid a similar fate as host. Won't get the free kick there though. Montero will look for Valencia. At the beating of Yara for pace again. The defender requiring the assistance of his goalkeeper and captain. Does look the most likely though, Enner Valencia at the moment. Vargas. Challenges really are flying in. It's frantic stuff just now. That will suit Ecuador really. Chile unable to assert their more composed possession game just at the moment. Fairly clear-cut decision, I think, against Martinez, that one. Or was it? The assistant referee was perfectly placed to give it, could not have had a better view. Mauricio Isla. Gets it back from Valdivia. Haven't had as much joy with those runs from Isla down the right as they had before the break. Ecuador maybe getting to grips with that particular threat. Here's Bolanos. Valdivia again. Looking for Vidal. Sanchez will take it off his toes. Picks the pass. Vargas with the effort beaten away by Dominguez. Still it won't quite go in for them, but they continue to ask the questions. And he has seemingly added a greater attacking threat, Eduardo Vargas, since his introduction. It's a breakthrough year in the national shirt. Came in 2013, remarkable run of scoring that he went on. Calling for it again here, it's Valdivia who gets it first. Nicked away from Vidal again. Valencia is a lonely target up top. But will be satisfied enough in the circumstances, therefore, with the outcome. Clearly onside, Vargas. Well timed ball from Sanchez, threaded through to him, straight at the goalkeeper though. Connected with some power. The save that Alexander Dominguez would always have expected to make. Aranguiz scoring the famous win against Spain, of course, at the World Cup last year. Contributed to the holders going out in the group stage. Vidal. And still pulled back there right on the edge of the penalty area. A big decision and a huge roar as the referee points to the spot. Arturo Vidal pulled back, and Chile have the chance to score the opening goal of Copa America 2015. He wants it himself. And this was a big call by referee Patana. It was just inside the area when the contact was made, despite the fact he was going away from goal again. Mila Bolanos, who had hold of the shirt of Vidal. The Ecuadorian complaints continue. This would be cruel on La Tricolor. You can understand the urgency of the protest, but obviously in vain. The referee made his mind up very early to point to the spot. And Alexander Dominguez, who's dealt comfortably enough with everything that has been thrown at him so far, now has to face the penalty. Vidal, having won it, immediately grabbed hold of the ball. As I mentioned, he scored from the spot in stoppage time to salvage a recent draw against Bolivia at the end of last year. He is going to assume responsibility. Penalty heartbreak put paid to their World Cup hopes, of course, a year ago. It's Chile from the spot again. It's Arturo Vidal with a powerful penalty. The opening goal of this year's Copa America, scored in Chile by Chile. Breakthrough goal. Vidal into double figures for his country, and few will have mattered more. He won the penalty. He was always going to take the penalty. Suffered his own heartbreak with Juventus less than a week ago, when he had to watch Barcelona pick up the Champions League trophy in Berlin. Now back in his nation. Dominguez went the right way, but there was plenty of power in the penalty to put it past him into the top corner. The hosts are up and running in Santiago. And it's prompting a flurry of activity off the bench here. Valdivia's race is run for today, at least. The Chile change sees him replaced by Matías Fernández of Fiorentina. We didn't mention too much of a change in the setup of the side because of that. But Ecuador are responding themselves, and they are going to bring on Pedro Quinones here as they try and pick themselves up off the floor. Heartbreaking manner, really, in which to concede the goal. And the man making way is Osvaldo Lastra in the midfield. All of a sudden, it's a very different situation that Quinones enters for Ecuador. They'll have to do this the hard way. Midway through this second half, the opening goal of the game. Is that the lift that Chile need then? Information of that change, and Fernandez is straight into the action. It's he who finds Mena. Mena who delivers the cross that was just a fraction too high for Vargas. Vidal may yet still make something of it, though. Aranguiz. Really has settled home nerves, that penalty By the looks of this, at least, they're starting to stretch Ecuador now. Sanchez taking over. Martinez back defending. Here is Fernandez. Aranguiz. Mena's got space. Valencia is going to get to that first. Montero. This is Jefferson Montero. And still support arriving, albeit rather limited. The yellow shirts outnumbered in the area, certainly. Montero believing he has to try and do this all on his own. And it's ultimately just beyond him on that occasion. "20 minutes to find something." If Ecuador's wretched run in the Copa America is not to continue. 9 matches, remember, since they last won a match at the finals. 8 defeats during that period. They've gone out in the group stage at the last 5 tournaments. That's despite being regular qualifiers for the World Cup from the South American section. Mexico spreading their resources during this summer with the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Winter as it is in South America, of course. Ecuador may feel that they are well placed to progress from this section, which is completed by Bolivia, the lowest ranks of the teams in Group A. After this, Chile have Mexico here on Monday, and then Bolivia on Friday. Playing all of their group games at Estadio Nacional. Ecuador on their travels after this. They go to Valparaiso to face Bolivia next up, and then conclude the group in Rancagua at Estadio El Teniente against Mexico. And the top 2 from the 3 groups and the 2 best third-place teams make up the quarter-finalists. No extra time in the knockout stages up until the final this year either, for the first time. So we could potentially see a repeat for 4 years ago, when Paraguay reached the final without actually winning a game outright. They drew all 3 group matches, progressed on penalties in both the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. That was after extra time. These games won't go that far in 2015. These, of course, increase the potential for upsets, maybe. Wasn't going to give that up, was he, Alexis Sanchez? I do wonder how much the weight of history will affect these Ecuadorian players in this particular competition. Only twice have they ever beaten Chile at a Copa America. Last of those back in 1997. Since then, they've won just 1 of 16 matches in this competition against anybody. A chance this year to start afresh with a group of players largely unscarred by previous failings. They must feel that their luck is against them here, having defended with such discipline, with such concentration. And then conceding the penalty. They might concede another penalty here. Instead, the decision goes against Matías Fernandez, and the referee's outcome is again very clear, very decisive. A card for the dive. Has taken up that Valdivia role since his introduction. He's one man who missed out actually on the World Cup last year. Injured just before the final, so he wasn't available to Sampaoli in Brazil. Valencia, he's going to get there first ahead of Claudio Bravo, but his touch was just a little too heavy. Just ran out of room. A little reminder to Chile as if one was required. We look again at the major moment thus far. When he was looking for it, you could see him glancing at the referee before it even landed on the turf. But Vidal got what he was looking for and was not going to spurn the opportunity, despite the fact Dominguez was a fraction away from getting fingertips to it. Here's Mena. We're seeing a lot of the ball is Matias Fernandez. Surgery on his ankle that kept him out of the World Cup. Sanchez giving chase here. Chile couldn't wait for the ball to bounce before intervening. Foul on Fidel Martinez to go into the final 15 minutes of this first fixture. 25 more matches to come over the next 3.5 weeks. There's a festival of football that assumes the global glare, really. A stellar list of big names battling for top billing. Arturo Vidal has staked his claim first so far. His work is not done yet, but Sampaoli will be a little more satisfied. There's Sebastian Bekaketche, who's with him, as he has been actually since he was just 22 years of age. Sampaoli's right-hand man wherever he's been, including at Emelec in Ecuador. Also at Universidad de Chile. He previously turned down an assistant role with the national team under Marcelo Bielsa after the 2010 World Cup out of loyalty to Sampaoli. Martinez. Some menace on the cross. Just needed the touch from the arriving Bolanos that he wasn't able to provide. They've taken the corner very quickly. And off Gary Medel. They've worked an angle maybe here. Vidal with the block. And once again was miscued. More positivity required now from Ecuador. They're going to have to take a few risks, you would have thought, in the closing stages here in pursuit of parity. Bit more space now for Chile to try and exploit. Eduardo Vargas couldn't get his shot away. Sanchez is looking for Vidal in the middle. Fernandez away from Martinez. Solid sort of a season he's had with Fiorentina in Serie A. Starting over half of their league games. He was a regular in their run to the semi-finals of the Europa League as well. Alongside his club colleague David Pizarro, who's also on the Chile bench tonight. But it's Ecuador getting ready to make another change and to bring on another attacker, Renato Ibarra. He's in the Dutch Eredivisie with Vitesse. Getting ready to bring on another attacking threat, really, bit of pace. It's the defending that they have to do first. Vargas couldn't quite bring it down quickly enough. This is Mauricio Isla again. A touch from Medel, still Isla. Aranguiz. to give La Tricolore the chance to make this substitution, I would have thought. Ibarra, who missed Vitesse's Europa League playoff final victory over Heronveen through injury, had a rapid recovery to take his place in his country's squad, despite the injury problems that were racking up for Gustavo Quinteros. He's on for Fidel Martinez, unable to continue his fine recent goal-scoring form tonight. Ibarra coming on for a 24th cap. He's yet to open his scoring account for his country, despite the position that he plays. And I feel this is the opportune moment to end that particular drought. And look to get him on the ball for the first time here. Almost got it back again. And is still in there battling for it. Helped out by Paredes. No doubting the desire here from Ecuador. They are giving this a go. Bodies on the line. Free kick might have come at a personal cost to Juan Carlos Paredes. He had played all of his career in Ecuador until joining Watford for last season. He actually made the move to Granada, also owned by the Pozzo family. He decided he'd be better employed at Vicarage Road. Last 10 minutes, and Ecuador sizing this up. Might not get many better opportunities. Can sense the edginess from the stands. Chile's lead still a fragile one. Ayovi standing over it. Ibarra as well in the vicinity. Would be a likely candidate. Instead, it's Ayovi, and it's straight at that wall. He'll try again, though. Oh, they're thwarted by the flame of the goal this time. Bravo, a mightily relieved spectator. And is that confirmation that it's just not Ecuador's night? Have to remain switched on here. Well, the initial free kick from Walter Ayovi was a poor one, really. And yet it still very nearly turned into something dramatic. Much better ball in second time around. Here they come again. Ibarra wasn't going to catch it anyway, but he was offside. Well, by some margin, the closest they've come. They couldn't have come really any closer. Take two for Ayovi, as I say, was much more threatening. Valencia's header had Bravo beaten. And just as Chile were left to rue the crossbar right at the end against Brazil a year ago in the World Cup round of 16, had that been a fraction lower, this would have been a different story. And Valencia, who earned his move to West Ham, to the Premier League, really off the back of the 3 goals that he scored in the group stages in Brazil last year. He's very close to delivering again at a major competition, showing enough to suggest he could yet this year. Ibarra looking for Valencia, and this time his touch carries it too close to Bravo. But Ecuador really now are asking the questions. Their belief is flooding back again. The first touch that did the damage on that occasion. And Valencia has 11 goals in his 19 previous caps for Ecuador. He's the full man in front of goal. 10 goals he got for them in 10 games in 2014. 12 in his last 12 matches. Sanchez, he's found Vargas though. The chance surely for Chile to settle it. Eduardo Vargas off the bench at the break to make a decisive impact. It's an outpouring of relief as much as anything in Santiago. The hosts surely now have their opening victory. A fraction away from being pegged back at one end moments ago. Chile have the goal, and it's Vargas who scored it. And it came from Ecuadorian possession on the halfway line, really. Dominguez left completely exposed. The quick thinking of Sanchez had found Eduardo Vargas in space. The appeals were always going to be in vain. Took it coolly enough. It should be game over. It's a 19th goal for his country, Eduardo Vargas. First since he scored in that 5-0 victory against Venezuela back in November. Harsh on Ecuador. They've played their part in a thoroughly entertaining second half. Played their part in frustrating Chile in the first 45. But ultimately, it seems they're going to go unrewarded now. And this time it really will require a huge effort to pick themselves up again to the deflation of the concession of that second goal. A time when they were having their best period of the match. So he's shoring things up with the introduction for the closing stages of David Pizarro. Too close to Claudio Bravo. Sanchez was desperate to get on the end of that, wasn't he? He wants to get in on the scoring act as well. He might have to settle for the assist for Vargas's goal. This all a little bit unnecessary after what has generally been played in a decent spirit. One or two flash points tonight, but they have been relatively isolated. There's a fine line when it matters so much. They've been waiting so long for this. Controlling the emotions, channeling the emotions. Particularly difficult task. Chile having his say. Ecuador might be wondering just how they have conceded the two tonight, having defended so well for long spells. And certainly reflect on that Valencia header off the bar. Just minutes before going two behind. It really could have been a very different story here. There are positives for Ecuador to draw on. The games to come against Mexico and Bolivia. I will still believe they could yet meet the target of their football federation to progress from the group for the first time in 6 tournaments. They haven't been able to spoil the script for Chile on opening night, though. Or if they do, it would certainly be some story from here. How Ibarra will live to rue that particular misplaced pass. It was he who sparked the counter-attack. It was Vargas who finished it. They feel the job is done now. We'll also know the importance of trying to win this group. It would afford them a more likely route to the semi-finals. Winner of Group A plays the best third-place team in the last 8. Well, of course, Chile 4 years ago won their group in Argentina and then lost to Venezuela, rather surprisingly, in the quarter-finals. Took 7 points from 9 in the group stage in Argentina. And that's all that's missing, really, to complete Chile's perfect second half. But still, it might paper over 1 or 2 concerns in the performance. Ecuador have caused them problems. Ibarra getting it back again. Montero has been starved of service really in the last quarter of the contest. Trying to change that. Bravo unchallenged. And now the atmosphere in the stand, something more akin to that we saw before kick-off during the opening ceremony, which officially got this party started. The Chilean team have now come to the party. Into added time. They have 4 added minutes, I think, of which we've played the 1 already. And it was that goal from Eduardo Vargas that has concluded this contest in favour of La Roja. They can continue and step up their celebrations for now. And they look for Sanchez. Again, Paredes is there first. It's going to be just the 4th win in 14 at the Copa America for Chile. They progressed through the group 4 years ago. Something of an exception to the recent rule, in terms of the manner in which it was achieved anyway. It was late. And it's a second yellow, and their night is soured. Matias Fernandez, another of the second half substitutes, will also form part of the story when this narrative is told. But it's an unwanted addition to the tale, really. The second yellow card in stoppage time, and Matias Fernandez ensures Chile will finish with 10. And he is ruled out of their next game. Mistimed it, didn't he, on Paredes? And a couple of dummies in the process, and pays a heavy price. Won't take all of the shine off the night, certainly for Chile, but that just put a little dampener on proceedings for them at the end. Maybe just add a little longer to the 4 added minutes. Ayovi's free kick, though, is too long. The red card will not affect the outcome tonight, but it could have an influence on what is to come. Will be unavailable. Will Fernandez against Mexico on Monday back here. Well, Chile up and running with the victory. They have come to the party, although it was far from straightforward. Frustrated by Ecuador in the first half. It needed a penalty won and scored by Arturo Vidal midway through the second period to get their noses in front. And even then they required the second from Eduardo Vargas to make the points safe just minutes after Ecuador had threatened to restore parity. They had a from Valencia off the crossbar, as good as it got for them. The 2-0 scoreline in the end, perhaps not telling the full story. And Chile finishing with 10 men after the late sending off of Fernandez as well. But they can start the celebrations. They're up and running. Full time in Santiago. Chile 2, Ecuador 0.